appreciate everyone at the AIFC family and the greater soccer community joining us again for a series of player webinars. Definitely, this was a player that once we started going down this path of talking to some of the legends and some of the trailblazers of Canadian soccer, we were eager and looking forward to speak to over the time that we've all known him, from me personally, from the standpoint of, from the coaching realm, also known, our guest here today to be an outstanding human being that, I definitely look for inspiration and always, for within his words. So, it's something that I was definitely personally looking forward to hearing a little bit of insight, from his career. We've been fortunate enough in this series to have almost a decade's worth of Canadian players of the year. When it comes to that realm, Dero, 4-time Canadian Player of the Year, a champion at every level. I think really needs, no introduction in terms of who he is, in terms of the sporting fabric and just the general fabric of urban youth in Toronto. And, it's even, we were just talking before we went online, it's even going now as just plugging in every day, just staying connected to the pulse of just excellence and doing the right thing. So, Brother Dero, thank you for joining us. It's an honor to have you here with us and taking your words here tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'm happy to join you guys tonight. And I think it's a great thing you guys are doing. Keeping engaged. Listening to stories and different people's journeys, how it can relate to their own personal experiences or experiences that they will be facing in the future. But again, what you guys are doing and what you guys are trying to do in terms of keeping those kids engaged. So, happy to be here, and I'm glad. I look forward to it.
Thank you. We talked about when we were trying to do this, engaging players towards mindset. And you can have, professionals come in and speak on mindset, and people that put themselves on a realm of, 365 days a year working on mindset and bettering mindset. And I think we can all agree that that's an important trait in any athlete. But, for us, I think it's in our community and from a soccer standpoint, and just even with the players that we work with in general, it's sometimes better off, hearing it from the horse's mouth and better off, hearing it from somebody that's experienced it, that's referenced it, that, comes from their same background, So I think, as a person that has been at the pinnacle of your sport, at the end of the day, you're a native of the GTA. When we all talk about, soccer growing up in a time where there was a plethora of players that maybe didn't have the avenues that had now, you were definitely considered, a baller coming up and being a part of, the GTA, soccer system at the time, if you can take us back and maybe just say to yourself, what do you distinctly remember was, a key component that you think was important to you in your development in getting to the next level as a player, a professional player from a very early age?
I think purpose, playing and training with purpose. I remember from a young age and growing up, playing for Malvern in particular, we had a great team. That team broke up. We're about 14, 15 years old because we had about 8 of us on the provincial program. And my father thought it was the best option for us to take our game to the next level, an environment where we could potentially take this and make something out of ourselves through the sport. But at that time, one by one, players dropped off for various reasons. A lot of it had to do with in terms of the distance we had to travel and overcome so many obstacles, driving down to Ivory Wayne and Hamilton every Saturday and Sunday, and then Sheridan College every Tuesday and Thursday, it took a toll, especially for single families. And, you know, I used to watch my dad do this every night. There was times I didn't want to go because I was playing ball at the time, basketball too, for Toronto Blues, which was very competitive, with Jamal actually. And, you know, I just remember doing that. And then along the way, you know, he would always tell me, he goes, that this is what's going to make you separate from the rest, is you coming out here and showing up. I know you're going to be tired. I know you're not going to want to do it, but you got to stick with it if you want to take this game to the next level. And if you don't, let me know. Don't waste no one's time. But if this is what you want to do. And I think at that point in time, I just really looked at it, and I saw all the talented players that just, just stopped, and then going back and hanging on the block and seeing what everybody's doing. And I had to put 2 and 2 together for myself, and then put it on a scale and figure out, what do I want more for myself? Do I want to, be like the rest of the guys, or do I want to be the few? And I decided to be the few. And making that decision is very difficult, because it's lonely. It's definitely a sacrifice that you have to make. And, when your friends are going to hang out and going out, and you're like, man, I gotta stay home because I got training. And there's sometimes I did go out, to be honest. But one thing was for sure, I still was up in the morning ready to go to training. And every time I stepped on that field, I just felt good. Like I felt like that was my sacred place. That was my zone. When I went on there, all my cares, all my worries, all my troubles, all my pain, hardship that I was going through, whatever I was going through, I just felt like free, and it's something that, I think when you talk about mindset and what you play for, trying to find that purpose, it's good that you love it and all that stuff, but there's got to be a burning desire. There's got to be a deep passion. You got to find purpose. And, I looked at all the guys that fell off, and I was just like, man, I don't want to be like them. I want to do this for them. I want to be the one guy that's coming from Metro Housing and Scarborough and from these teams that say, you know what, at least give it a try. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be like the rest of them that stopped, So I just put in my mind that this is what I'm going to do. And then, of course, is application, right? Applying yourself and how are you going to transition. It's great to say you want to be a professional. It's great to say you have great dreams and ambitions, but application is the next step. How are you going to apply it, And, obviously application comes with work, putting in the work and training every day and, really, really embodying what it is to be a professional, which we never had around us. I never had, players that played the game at a professional level coach me or come around and mentor me and like what we do now. So it was just raw, sheer innovation, passion, love, and just, creating what we thought is what the professional world looked like. We didn't have that. So, going on the field and making the noise of the crowd and, just and envisioning yourself and putting yourself in that environment, in that world, and not even living in that world. As at that time, soccer was, and still in some respects, still not, respected and not given its just respect. But especially back then, soccer Saturday was the only thing. And if you had someone that had a satellite, you'd be able to catch 1 or 2 other games. But there's not a whole lot of, content out there. So we had to create this. And how we created it was through a lot of it was trial and error, getting out there, playing kickball against the wall and realizing how important that was in developing, angles and hitting the ball off the wall and, these little games that we just created and realizing how much impact it has as you develop, in terms of situations. Like, yeah, I could pick that corner because I did that when I was growing up all the time. Like a man kick the ball hard off the wall, put you down a little bit. You got to, get creative and find a way to curl it around an object or whatever the case is. just being real creative, being outdoors and learning from experience and learning from trial and error. A try is a failure. So you don't know and you don't develop unless you try, and getting out there and trying and practicing and pushing your body to limits that it's never been before. So I used all those experiences, and I just channeled it towards my passion for the game and my development in the sport. And I never took nothing for granted.
Fantastic. Just want to say on record, it's very, very humbling to have you on here with us, Dwayne. Let's just kind of talk a little bit about back in 1997. You had a big hand in Canada qualifying for the 1997 World Cup in Malaysia, scoring some big goals in qualifying and the World Cup as well. Do you have a specific memory of that time that carried you throughout your career?
Yeah, just the whole experience, for one, just being a part of that experience. I got cut from the U17 provincial program from Bob Monroe. And I remember that conversation like it was yesterday, him pulling me aside beside my dad and telling me pretty much, you have all the skill in the world, but you're too small. And the players that we play against are big and fast. And that really impacted me because, and I thank him for that, because that changed the course of my mentality, because the next time around, I want to give them a product that they couldn't refuse. And that's what got me really militant in training, doing a lot of hills training and stuff like that to prepare for the U20. So when I was at the U20, I was just ready to showcase my talent. And, going to Mexico and at the time, Canada didn't have the best run-in in terms of qualifying. And I was just driven to change the minds of that. And a lot of that stemmed from different experiences that I experienced as a child and having the opportunity to travel to different clubs and just the way people looked at Canadians and soccer. So I had that against me. And then obviously I have coming from Scarborough Metro Housing against me. So I use that as fuel to the fire to prove to the world that we can play the game. And it wasn't just a kick and run country. We actually had talent and ability. And that qualifiers, I just let loose. And thankfully, the coach at the time, Bruce Twomley, he let me go, man. And he said, Dero, just, play your game and do your thing. And I end up actually having golden boot that tournament. Tied with a Mexican in that tournament. And, we beat Mexico in Mexico in the World Cup in the finals, which is huge. And, for us, it was a real stamp of authority. And I think not only that, the way we rallied around the team and the players rally around each other and support each other with the one objective to compete and to fight and to win was unique and something that, I always remember. Obviously going to Mexico, it was hot. It was Monterrey. It was humid. It was dry. There's so much things against us. And, we beat the U.S. in the semis, and then we beat Mexico in the finals in Mexico. And I never forget, at halftime, it was 1-1. And when we came off, they were throwing pea bags at us and stuff like that. And that was the first time I ever witnessed anything like that. And they were real vicious, And then after the game, I got to give them respect, man. They stood up and they clapped us because the way we played, the level of football we put down in Monterrey. And that, for me, changed everything. That's when I was like, yeah, this is what I want to be about. This is what I want to eat, sleep, and breathe right now.
Staying like at the beginning of your career, you made a transition from Canada to go and play in Germany, which is, it's a big move, I think, for any player at a young age to go overseas. And as a Canadian player, I don't know, for me personally, I felt this way, but I don't think we get the most respect outside of Canada when it comes to soccer, because it's just not what we're known for. So going over to Germany, what was like, if there was any, was there any sort of culture shock for you going over there in terms of football?
Yeah, I mean, it's not only we don't get respect over there, we don't even get respect here, much less. So, but what happened was there's a story kind of behind that, and I'll get to that, answer that question. when I was in Milan, I was training with AC Milan at the time, and that was a team where they had Edgar Davids, they had Desai, they had all the big guns, George Weah, which is one of my favorite players. You know, I was using the men's room, and Edgar Davids walks up beside me, right? And I'm using the restroom, and he looks over to me, goes, "Hey, man, you're that Canadian kid." And of course, you know, it's Edgar Davids. I get excited, like, shoot, this guy knows, like, you know, knows who I am and knows that. I go, yeah, you know, excited. Yeah, man, yeah, I'm here just, you know, I'm on trials. He goes, what would they want with a Canadian here? And I was just like, you know, I looked at it and I thought to myself, damn, what do they want with a Canadian here, right? But in hindsight, I flipped that and said, okay, you know what? I'm going to show them what they want with a Canadian here, because I understood that's how they looked at Canada, because, you know, that's how they perceive, like, football. You guys should be playing hockey. So I had a contract in AC Milan, a 5-year contract, and I turned it down because I just wasn't ready. I was a real street kid. I didn't have, you know, I didn't have the support probably that I probably needed at the time. I went down by myself, and 5 years seemed like my whole life. After that bothered me a lot. So after the Youth World Cup, when I got the opportunity to go to Germany, they wanted me, and I told myself that I'm not going to turn down another opportunity that comes my way. And so I decided to sign. It was myself and Jason Bent at the time. Actually, he kind of forced me to sign, because we were in preseason in a village. And I said, okay, let's go at least and see the town, what we're getting ourselves into. So they brought us there overnight. By morning, we had breakfast, and they had the contracts right on the table to say, listen, you guys want to sign? So I said, Jay, let's go for a walk. He goes, yo, man, just sign, man. I go, man, I don't know. Like, this is, like, we don't even know what this is about, right? For me, I was second guessing for him. He just wanted to sign. So we went for a little walk in the town and came in and signed. As soon as we signed, everything changed. You know, the way the players received us. At first, they were welcoming, and then when they found out we signed, and we signed for good money at that time, it was a whole different. It became real competitive. You know, in the sense of physical competition in training. You know, when we had our first game, and actually no, our first you know, meeting with the fans, they were looking at us like, what are you doing signing these guys? This time I had dreadlocks, and the press wrote an article saying, Zwickau signs 2 Jamaican dreadlock Rastafarians. And I was like, what? You know, and it's just perception again, right? So yeah, when we would go to certain villages and play. This is East Germany at the time. You know, so obviously they weren't as open as they are now. But, you know, we got, you know, hate slogans, racial slogans, bananas thrown at us. Certain times we would play, they would make monkey noises, the stadium. And I mean, look at me, I ain't like dark skin or nothing, but because you're not one of them, in your eyes, you're not one of them. And they'll let you know that. But, you know, great things came out of that. Like, you know, after games, us and all the foreign players, African players or local German players, anyone with color or look different would, you know, counsel each other after the game. It was crazy. Like, we would all say, man, just keep your head up, keep going, don't give up, you know. But everyone said, listen, you got to get out of Zwickau. You guys got to get out of Zwickau. You know, and then twos, after a while, the players pretty much ran the coach out, and a new coach came in and wanted nothing to do with us. Like, we went from playing and starting and to not traveling, not even having no role or position on the team. And, you know, I went to the coach and I said, listen, you know, with all due respect, like, you came in here as a new coach. You never said anything to myself and Jason. You know, where do we stand within the club? And he's like, oh, you know, you don't really have a place here. Just like that. So that was pretty much, you know, a message to us to say, listen, just get out, just leave. And it wasn't healthy. It wasn't for our development. But I look back at it and I thank that situation, because it helped me a lot to deal with so many adversity and so many challenges that I would face after that.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely, you know, one of the main themes, you know, that for whoever we talk to, you know, from the playing side, just that resilience, you know, that you just face. And, you know, a lot of players that, want to make that jump to that other side. We're talking beyond scholarship now to sort of that pro side. It's now, you're talking about almost becoming a commodity, just to be able to have conversations like that without justification and without, any real sense of fairness. That's it. Your time there is done. And, how do you stay resilient and how do you stay, progressing through that? But, you continue to grow as a professional, on your return to North America, from a club and country standpoint. You had, a fantastic season in Richmond, which propelled you, I think, to the rest of your career at that standpoint. And you could say, that was a good catalyst point, it's fair to say, towards your professional career, overall. What were some influences or maybe, some approaches at that time that you can distinctly remember that, helped you become an everyday impact player?
From the Richmond experience or coming back from Germany?
Yeah, coming back from Germany, going through that Richmond experience, going into MLS.
Germany is when I really hit a limbo stage, when I was just kind of like sitting around. I was making, like I said, I was making good money. I took all my money out the bank. Jason at the time played for Maryland, so he had a name in the U.S. already. He went on trial to Colorado, and he got selected. And I was like, man, shoot, what am I going to do? I had Lynx calling me back. I had Montreal Impact, Whitecaps, but me personally at the time, I didn't want to be in Canada. I just didn't, for me, it was too comfortable. So I was sitting around, I was waiting around and I ended up working at a health food store, to be honest. Just to raise some money in the side. I didn't want to take that money I got from Germany and use and spend it. So I started working at the Big Carrot on Danforth, and like for a hot month, I think a month and a half. And I just said, you know what, this is not me, man. This life is not me. And then, how things work. I got a call from Richmond, and they said, listen, we would like for you to come down and have on trial over here. We heard that you're back, and I said, listen, man, there's money that the team in Germany would like for me because kind of left my contract. And the coach was like, okay, well, just come down here and see if you like the environment first, and we'll see if we want you, if you even like your ability to see if you fit in the team. So I said, okay, fine. They said, when could you come? I go, when you want me to come? I'm ready right now. So pretty much it was maybe like a Tuesday, Friday, I was on a flight, head down to Richmond. And I remember when I got down there, I didn't know much about team. I didn't do my research at that time. Of course, we didn't have internet and all that stuff. But when I got down there and I went to training, you had Onandi Lowe, you had Gary Glasgow, you had Roger Thomas, you had Gregory Messam, and these guys just came from World Cup playing with Jamaica, right? And then Glasgow was with Trinidad. You had, Marco Ferruzzi with the U.S. And I'm like, damn, this is a stacked team. And so I figured my goal was to get to the MLS. And I didn't see any opportunities coming up. So I said, you know what? Richmond has affiliation with DC United. Let me go here. Let me showcase my talent. I'll be playing. I'll build back the love and passion for the game. And let me see how things develop. And then when I went down there as in a militant phase, because when I was working at the Big Carrot at the time, and I stopped working, I made a promise to myself. I set a 5-year plan, and I think I was 18 at the time. I set myself a 5-year plan, and within that 5 years, I decided I was going to take every opportunity and just make the best of it. I'm not going to look at any situation as a negative situation. And I signed with Richmond, and I went there militant. Like, I wasn't going out, nothing. I was training every day. I was in the gym after training. I stayed after training. I was working my behind off. And then 2 years later, I get a call to go on trial with DC United. Frank Yaup was the assistant coach. And, during that trial, we were in El Salvador with, and I was just like with Moreno, Echeverry, all the big guns, DSRSA and all. So we really connected. I was hanging out with those guys and everything. Adrian Saru was there as well on that trial with me. Greg Simmons was down there. So, the team, they were looking to make some impact and get back to the winning ways. But Frank had a call from San Jose saying, there's an opportunity to go to San Jose. And, obviously the rest is history after that. But, that 5-year plan I made for myself, and I said I wasn't going to break my 5-year promise to myself. And I just put in some work, some hard work. And, a lot of times those guys went out and, they begged me. Actually the first time I went out, I actually met my wife.
Amazing. That's amazing. So now you're start off your career with San Jose Earthquakes, and you never look back from that point.
Mm-hmm.
Winning an MLS Cup in your first year. From those highs, you also experienced some lows. I think you had a serious injury at the time.
Yeah, that was 2003.
Okay. So let's talking about injuries now. Can you reflect on what it was like to come back from that major injury and to reach the championship after that? Because I believe you won a championship after that. Did you have a different perspective after your injury, or were you able to lock in on your previous mindset?
Yeah, I definitely was able to lock in on my previous mindset. But at the time, at that time, I was with the national team training camp in Florida. And we were training, and I felt a pop in my foot. And I went to get an X-ray down there, and I fractured my 5th metatarsal on my right foot. Right before the season. That was my season. That was my breakout season. Like Frank was like, Dero, you did enough. You're gonna be the main guy. You're gonna be starting every game, and just make sure you have a good off season. I was coming on as a bigger name for myself with the national team after winning the Gold Cup and all that. And boom, in Florida, I fractured my foot. Took me out for 2 months. My first game back in San Jose, we're playing San Jose State University. Frank goes to me, goes, how do you feel? I go, I feel good, coach. Just give me I just want 5-10 minutes just to get on there, just to knock the ball. Bro, I go on the field, ball goes down the wing, cross it, I side volley it, boom, goal scores, and then I'm celebrating, and then I'm feeling my knee like, wait, my knee don't feel right. I end up playing the rest of the game. That night we have our shirt unveiling ceremony, because we had new jerseys, San Jose. And I remember called our physio, Bruce, and I'm like, Bruce, man, something's going on in my leg. It just doesn't feel right. You know that pain that you feel deep in your stomach? That's the pain I was feeling. So at the event, it just kept aching and aching. And he goes, come early in the morning and let me look at it. Sure enough, I went in the morning. He grabbed my knee and went like this and just put his hand in his head. And I go, what's wrong? He goes, man, I go, and as soon as I saw that, I was just like, man, I don't know what it was. And he goes, you just, you tore your LCL. I go, so what does that mean? He goes, well, you're out for the season. I go, what? I go, no, man. And then I remember I went to drive. Usually you go run hills. I was running hills at the time in this place called Alum Rock, and I drove to Alum Rock, and I walked up I limped up the hill. I was so mad. All these emotions and all this stuff, and I sat down there and I said, man, well, get the surgery and get back to work. So I walked back down the hill. I went home. I didn't even tell my wife at the time. And I was like, babe, I tore my LCL. And she was crying. She's like, so what's going to happen? They said I'm out for the season, but I'm not going to be out for the season. I'm going to get the surgery and I get right back. So I got the surgery. I went to the islands and started working on it, seeing my doctor down there, and then started working on it, doing sand work, water work, hills, building it back, and then was able to come back to play in August that year and help us, our team, to push to the playoffs. And that was crazy. And I pulled my hamstring.
Wait. So what month did you initially hurt it?
That was like April.
And you came back in August.
Yeah.
From an LCL.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think our kids really truly understand that. That's like what, how many, 4 or 5 months in the same season? That's unbelievable. That's truly unbelievable.
I believe your mind could do so much, and having I think when I went up on that hill and I took time to myself and I said, you know what, I'm not going to let this affect my career. I'm not going to let this bother me. And I just put in my mind that I'm doing whatever it takes to get back. Even the trainer at the time, Bruce, he couldn't believe it. When I came back to San Jose in July, I was like, I want to start training. I want to start running. He's like, whoa, hold on. What do you mean? No, let me see your leg. And he did the test on the knee, and he goes, okay, feel strong. What do you mean doing? I mean, I've been doing a lot of work, Bruce. I was, sitting there. He goes, okay, let's monitor it. So right away we started working. I started running, cutting now angles, started thing. And then as of August, I got cleared. He said, go. 3 games later, I scored my first hat trick. And that was one of them was at the time was the fastest goal in MLS history. And I just didn't look back. And playoffs, we play LA, and in the first leg, I pull a hamstring. And then played Chicago, and come on in the second half, and that game, that match everybody was talking about against LA, the historic comeback, where they say was the best game in history of MLS. San Jose against LA, because we were losing 2-0 in LA. We went to Spartan Stadium. We were losing another 2-0, so we're 4 down aggregate, and we ended up coming back to win that game 5-4. So I came on late. No, I didn't even play that game. You see me running, and because my hamstring, I hurt my hamstring. And again, treating it because I didn't want to miss the final. And good enough, Frank saw me, worked out there, and he goes, I know how much you want this, man. Just be ready. And he played me in the last, I think it was 15, 20 minutes, and I got an assist with Landon and the game-winning goal.
That's when he celebrated with their vest and hit peace on it, right? Was it that game?
No, that was 01.
Oh, 01. Okay.
This year, that was the year we played against Chicago in Galaxy Stadium.
Okay. Well then, so you won the Canadian Player of the Year starting in 05. For 3 years in a row, you accomplished 4 in total. What were some of the most memorable moments for your country in those early stages of your Canadian career?
Well, I think the first call-up would definitely be the most important one at Varsity Stadium when we played against, was it Portugal? I ran Portugal, yeah, and I assisted the goal with Stalteri. That one would definitely be number one. And every time I got the call up with the national team, it was always a proud moment for me because, like I said, I was playing for a bigger purpose. I was playing for kids in my community. I was playing for all the kids that weren't able to wear a Canadian jersey, and I never turned down a call up. I never turned down a call. 2001 was a special moment. Obviously, winning the Gold Cup, that was special. To accomplish what we accomplished, and at the time, we beat teams, some world-class teams, and of course, having the opportunity to play in Confederations Cup against Brazil, Cameroon, and Japan was an amazing experience. So those would definitely stand out the most for me as highlights. But like I said, every time I wore that jersey and I put on that jersey and heard the anthem, it was just a different mindset that was going through my mind.
I want to talk a little bit about your time in Houston. Great city. I used to live in San Antonio, so coaching club, I was always in Houston a lot. But, for you, in terms of your success there, you won 2 championships and got a couple of MLS Cup MVPs, and we're not now at the early point of your career, maybe midpoint, a little bit after. What would you say are some things that allowed you to continue to elevate, even now you're not as young as you were?
Well, definitely my teammates, every training session that we had was intense. You know, right from the warm up 5v2s, and you know, it was just a winning mentality right around. You know, it was a great group, fun group after. It's not to say we hung out and went to each other's house and all that stuff, but on the field, we were competitive, super competitive. You know, I think Dom really created a great locker room of we had experience, and we had some hungry youth coming in, and you know, and of course the passion of wanting more success. You know, I never won a trophy, or it was almost like it was setting me up because I wanted more. You know, it was never enough. You know, when you win once, you say, okay, let's do it again. You win again, let's do it again. And you know, that first year, you know, with our relocation from San Jose to Houston, it really brought us together as a team. We had a disappointing loss in 05, a year where I think we had a team to win the MLS Cup that year, but you know, just things didn't work out. The bounce didn't work our way, so that was left a little bitter taste in our mouth. So when we went to Houston, we just kept it rolling and said, okay, well, let's turn this city into a championship city. And, you know, to win one championship is difficult enough, but to go back to back was extremely difficult. And to be fair, we could have won the triple if it wasn't for, you know, again, some New York, a team that came from nowhere and beat us, was in the semifinals was another big blow. But, you know, in my mentality, I just once you taste victory and success, it's a beautiful taste, and you just want that, and you realize that always comes with more hard work, because now you're the target. Everybody wants to beat you. Everybody wants to beat the champs. And every time I step on the field, I just felt that we weren't losing, and I think everyone in that locker room had the same mentality, that we're not losing this game. And that's a hard team to beat when you have 18 players bought into a mentality like that.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think those years that we just discussed, you know, always had a championship caliber, a championship mindset. I have two questions here. Just touching back upon, you know, your time in Houston. Now you had gone through, you know, a couple of programs that, you know, had been, you know, of a championship frame. You know, as working with, you know, great environments and great coaches, what, you know, usually there's always non-negotiables that coaches or programs have, or pillars that just really help, you know, surround the team towards that cause of excellence. You know, what's something that, you know, in your time and playing with those teams has sort of stuck with you, you know, even into this day, from your time and being in those programs?
Like going back to my comment just now, I just think the mentality of you know, guys called me out, I called guys out, guys got in my face, I got in guys' face, you know, fought a couple guys during training, because, you know, that's what winning was for us, you know, like, and this is training, we're on the same team, but we didn't want to lose. I hated losing, and anything I did, you know, we were just all super competitive, and I held everybody responsible and accountable, but I held myself first and foremost responsible and accountable. I remember there were situations where we would be playing bad, or I mean, the team would be playing bad, and I scored like a goal in the first half, and the coach Don comes in the locker room and yells at me to get in the locker room. I'm like, what the, yo? So I go in the locker room. He goes, sit down, loud, and he slams the door. And he goes, all right, man, you know, you want a beer or something? And I go, Don, why you always do that, man? He goes, because you know this guy can't handle it, and that guy can't. But he was managing the situation. So after that, I would go out in the hallway and he goes, act like you're mad. I just want you to walk out and walk straight onto the field. So, you know, and guys are looking like, oh man, Dero's mad, you know, like whatever the case is. And we go into the huddle, you know, and I'll be like, guys, come, you know, I just got blasted for you guys, pick it up, yell at the guys, and it'll be a complete 360 degrees of and that's what it takes, you know. You call out the big guys on the team, everybody else reacts, you know, because guys who they are that should have got called out. Guys know who is, not really focused in the match, or, just having a not good game. And they're like, why are they calling him out? They're not calling me out, but, it's accountability and responsibility. And he wants to see their reaction, in the second half, or else you get subbed out right away. He doesn't play. He doesn't waste time. So just that, like, managing and understanding certain psychological things, and from a manager, from a coaching standpoint, was a real great experience. But mentality, I think, for sure, to take away from that team and that group of guys was 100% mentality.
That's why I love doing these things. You just wouldn't hear you tell stories like this on Sportsnet or something like that. It just gives you a real chance to detail out. Now moving back to Toronto, obviously was a major step in your career for obvious reasons. You've now gone on to become a club legend. I think before that time, in Toronto FC, it was who cares if we have players that are homegrown and are from that area. I think, guys like you, Jules, of course, I think ushered in a time where now sort of the fabric of the club, it became unacceptable no matter what, to not have, sort of that hometown, boy in the fabric of the club. Regardless, in the time that you came in, it was definitely a different program, in a different environment than the championship, program you came in Houston. What were some of the initial things that you can remember struggling with, coming in, from that environment that we just talked about, where, you're at one end of the spectrum to that time, going into TFC? Well,
definitely mentality. And that was a mentality just on the field, but mentality off the field as well. And to be fair, I think I came too early, in the sense of, I don't think they're ready for someone like me. And I want to be, I don't think they're ready for someone that wants to come and just change things right away. I wasn't, because I'm passionate about this city, right? So when I was coming back, I was like, okay, let's win. I want Toronto to win right away. But not everybody had that same objective, or they maybe had that same objective, but they didn't know how to go about it. So that year, that was a very, very difficult transition, just from training and just the loosey-goosey training environment. And I'm like, guys, let's go. Let's pick it up. It's 5v2, and they're like, yo, this guy's serious. This guy's intense. And I remember constantly having meetings with the groups. Like, guys, if I want to make All-Star, I want to win. I want to be the MVP of the year. That's me. I'm just saying, speaking for myself. But if you want to be Defender of the Year, and you want to be Midfield of the Year, you want to be Goalie of the Year, then you're looking at a product that's very hard to beat. You guys just showing up because you guys just happy to be here, and you guys just want to go and have a good time and enjoy the town. I'm not here for that. I'm here to win. I don't care about my city, and I purposely moved away from this. I moved all the way to Oakville because I didn't want to be close to friends. I didn't want to be close to family. I didn't want to see nobody. I just wanted to see W's on the score and the game sheets, right? And for a lot of people, I think that was a lot intense. I called out a lot of things in terms of the facility and the turf, and not having the opportunity to train when we wanted to train because people are doing frisbee and walking the dog. I tried to. People don't even know. I tried to rent the field for the year from Parks and Recs just so we can train when we wanted to train. And word got around and got to upper management, and they tried to fix me up at the time, Mo Johnson. And I said, and me and him got in an argument. I go, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, this is our. He goes, he's trying to explain to me. He goes, no, this is community service. And then I go, listen, man, I don't care about all that, man. If you want to win a championship, this is how it has to be done. And I was very vocal, and I'm very verbal, and I don't hold back any apology towards that because I knew the potential. I knew what the fans wanted. I knew what the football community wanted. It didn't surprise me in 2007 that so many fans turned out and so many season tickets sold because we lived it. We lived in those, in futsal communities and in growing up and playing soccer in club environments, we felt the passion. We know the passion. So coming back here and feeling the passion and the vibration from the fans, and not seeing the same passion and the vibration from management was a challenge. Was a challenge for sure.
You know, the one key characteristic I keep hearing is mindset, and something that our players are listening to you talk about, the importance of mindset. And with your mind, anything is possible, you know, and you can accomplish anything. You look at Richmond, your mindset was strong, you accomplished what you need to accomplish. You go to San Jose, you win 2 championships, you had a strong mindset. Even though you're injured, it's your mindset. So hopefully our players would take that heed of what a strong mindset and how far, when you have a strong mindset, how far it will take you. So your pathway has blazed a trail for the present generation of Canadian footballers. Having played in a golden generation of Canadian footballers yourself, what is one thing you feel your generation was maybe short in order to achieve greater success?
World Cup, bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
That was my dream as a kid. Yes, I played in the Youth World Cup, but to represent my country at the ultimate of the ultimates, I could have played 5 minutes and I would have retired and said, I hate my dream. That's how much being in the World Cup means to me. And it still bothers me today that I didn't help Canada to qualify for the World Cup. It bothers me a lot, actually, because I really felt that we had the team to do it, but we didn't have the support to do it. And it was that for me was the shortcoming for in my professional career, not being able to play in a World Cup as a professional player.
Stepping away from you playing, right now you got 2 boys who are making a name for themselves in soccer, or at least trying to, and you get the opportunity to kind of gear them, I guess, where you didn't yourself, right? So, you know, what are some of the things that you think parents should do with their athletes now? So, like, you as a father looking at your sons, maybe something that you missed out on when you were growing up playing soccer. What are some of the things that you're trying to do with them to make sure that they kind of fit? Obstacles are important, but at the same time, you want to kind of make it easier for them, so to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I don't want to make it easy for them. I want them to understand, appreciate struggle, so that struggle could hopefully fuel them. I think the problem is we try to make it easy as parents, and we try to make the road too easy. That they, when they hit adversity, the quickest thing is to retreat and to give up. So being a parent and dealing with kids in these in you know, trying to develop their passion, I just try to you know, it's a double-edged sword, because as a parent you don't want them to experience what you experience, right? But at the same time, when you get a certain age, I'm like, man, I wish that kid would have grown up in Metro Housing just a little bit, so he understands street smart and struggle, you know, and realize that, you know, not everything is just you open a cupboard and there's snacks and there's this and that, right? There's you know, and understand, you know, what it's like to train on an empty stomach and get wind pains and stuff, you know, as maybe bad as that sound, but you appreciate things more, right? So balancing, showing them how to appreciate and value hard work and building character is my main focus. Whether they become professional footballers is their decision on their journey. But I definitely want them to understand that anything in life, it requires hard work and sacrifice. So if I have to be the one to get you up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning and say, go run, then, and you don't want to do it, then guess what? Me and you're going to have some problems. You know, because I just know that's what it takes to get to the next level. So I'm giving you the keys that no as coaches and stuff like that, we talk and we say, you know, do this, work hard, train hard. But, you know, they still have to do it. They have to put the work in, right? And it's never going to come across the way we want it on the time we want it. But balancing that with encouragement is very important. And you know, my sometimes my kids have a good game. My kids scored against the big Brazilian teams. He's like, Dad, you see my goal? I go, yeah, but what happened to the opportunity you had before that? Just like what my dad used to do. You know, just break him right down and be like, geez, Dad. Like, I go, no, man, not geez, nothing, bro. You could have 2 that game. You know, away that ball right there. You know, so it's just keeping them grounded and keeping them accountable, right? And then obviously, and then showing them to say, you know, a week after, say, bro, that's gone. That's gone. I'm proud of you. I'm not saying I'm not proud of you, but that play is gone now. Now you got now the ownership is, oh, this guy can score. Let me see him keep scoring, right? You know, don't stop what you're doing. Keep getting up and train. Be the first guy training, staying behind, talking to the coach. What can I do, coach, to improve? Anything I could do to add to my game. Constantly be that voice in his ear so he could be like, man, this kid really wants this. So that when he looks down the line to make a sub, he's going to remember you having that conversation with him, and he might give you that chance that you need to score that MVP, to score that game-winning goal. So, you know, keeping them grounded and making them understand hard work, I think is how I try to teach my kids and teach them important life lessons.
Yeah, they're definitely, you know, rounding out nicely. And I think, you know, just in speaking to all the players here that we've gone through in these webinars, you know, it's evident that once you're talking about making it to that pro level, it's a really individual, deep journey. You know, as much as your parents can try to make things comfortable for you or try to lead you down the road or make inways for you, you know, this is something that you have to learn to process and deal with yourself, you know, whether it's coming off of the bench, you know, as you said, or whether it's, you know, you're scoring, you know, big goals at a young age. You have to learn to manage that, temper that, and, you know, have the ability to show up on Monday again and give it your all, or it catches up to you really fast. There's just too much people that, you know, that want it. So it's, you know, it's definitely great to hear that insight, that it's just, and that understanding that it's a real personal thing. You know, it's important that parents understand that more. You know, I'll wrap up our last question here before, you know, Ainsley, he has his rapid fire questions, which are becoming real popular here. You know, ultimately, you know, Dwayne, as I said, we've had the opportunity to connect more through, you know, your time off the field after soccer. You know, I've come to get to know you, you know, quite well, and you know, luckily I'm peers with and friends with, you know, a great icon, you know, for the city of Toronto, and someone that, you know, has given back greatly, you know, not only through your academy, which is I feel, you know, we need more players that are referenced, that have walked the walk, that have been to Honduras, that have been to, you know, these battles and are now coming back and working with that next generation, but also, you know, some great community projects that is, you know, put yourself in the fabric of giving back to the city. You know, as someone who has truly given their all, you know, for Canadian football, not only as a player, but also now, you know, coming back and coaching and administering our game. You know, what is your ideal, you know, vision, you know, for the development of players in the GTA, which is, you know, I won't extend it too far, because I think respectfully, the GTA is, you know, Canada's soccer hotbed. And now that you're entrenched in it, you know, I think your vision is no doubt would be at the forefront of direction.
I want to see new blood. I want to see fresh blood. I want to see fresh ideas. I would like to see, you know, like you said, footballers now taking the game to the next level, and not taking it for our own interests, but solely for the betterment of and development of this sport. More competition in terms of tournaments, you know, playing in and feeling what, as we all felt, what Ontario Cup meant back in the days, what a Robbie meant back in the days, and going around those environments now and looking at it and say, what happened? You know, it hurts, to be honest, man, because that was special moments for us as kids, right? That was some real special moments. They see kids as, you know, whatever, show up now, and doesn't have the same taste. It doesn't have the same representation when it should. It should. You know, representing Ontario and playing at a national should mean something. Should mean like it should be deep. It should be elevated to a level of greatness. And it's still almost it's almost like stagnant in a little bit. We have great facilities. We have great opportunities with Toronto FC, with what you guys are doing in academies, and everyone's trying to do their part now. But it's time to diversify the leadership and get different ideas and different minds. I know we're all doing our own thing and collectively doing a good job of developing the kids. But then what next? Right? Where's the competition, the tournaments, and you know that means something. That when you go there, you know, you feel like this is a serious tournament, like a Dallas Cup. You know, like there's so many Minnesota, there's so many tournaments in the U.S. that I think with all the professional teams that we have now, and there should be an environment for that, which I'm trying to do with the BioSteel Canadian Championships, and me and Phil are working hard to try to create that environment. But we don't get a lot of support, and that's the hard part. I think a lot of us are doing our things, but I never look at you guys as a threat, nor no one should look at each other as a threat. And the only reason people see each other as a threat is if something we're doing that we're insecure within our own development process.
That's well said.
And especially bigger clubs that just want to sit down there with 5,000 kids and can't develop the conversation. But, you know, and working with the football community and making more open and having more dialogue where football education could come from the top, with football minds and people that wanna help this game to push forward so we could develop. You know, I look at Alphonso Davies, great story and everything, but I've seen kids that have the same qualities, you know, but they didn't get pushed through. You know, they didn't get pushed through. They didn't have the same avenues and stuff like that. And it's amazing what he's doing, because he doesn't even know he's opening so many doors. Right, but now that the doors is open, we should be pushing like competition. Get those teams over here. Let's showcase the talent. So we're trying hard to do our part, and I know you guys do. So if we continue to create platforms for like-minded people like you, me, Julien, Atiba, hopefully when he's done, he wants to give back. Saint is doing something in Edmonton, but all of us, we're not getting support from our associations. And that's where I think there has to be a change if we really want to take this game serious.
Well said. Well said. And the more that you talk, the more that you sound like the great Tony D. So, you know, I'd like to continue to keep that flame going and continue to inspire as you have been. But let's have a little fun now.
Yeah.
So
that one, but you know.
What's that?
I don't know how much the kids will relate to that part, but you know.
They'll relate. They'll relate. Tell me, who was the greatest leader you ever played with in your career? The greatest leader. Leader, yeah.
Wow.
Someone who might have motivated you in a different way. Player.
A player, the greatest leader as a player.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few that come to mind. Leadership, I would probably say Pat Onstad. Look, he like hated losing. He got in your face, even finishing. He didn't like you just shooting the ball for shooting's sake. Everything you did, he demanded that you do it properly. And I love that about him, man. He was a great leader for me.
Fantastic. What is your proudest moment for club and country?
For club will be obviously winning the championship, winning an MLS Cup, and then for country, winning the Gold Cup.
Good. What is your most fond memory of a loss? The loss that sticks out most in your mind?
Well, it was one that I sat home and watched our team lose to Honduras.
8-1.
Yeah, A1. And that's when I tore my MCL in Panama. I broke my computer. I put a hole in my wall. I cried for like 3 days. I didn't show up to training. I didn't show up to treatment. I was so mad. I was mad at myself that I couldn't be on the field to help my team out.
Passion. And what is your most fond memory of a win?
Yeah, well, winning my MLS Cups for sure. Winning the Gold Cup and winning Ontario Cups, winning Robbie's. The feeling of joy and looking at my family and seeing the smile on their face and tears. Me, that's moments to always cherish.
Fantastic. Last one now. Give us your top 11 all time, but you have to put yourself in this team. All right. Yeah. We're putting you on the spot now.
Okay.
So you're in this team. You're gonna give us your top 11. I will even throw you a lifeline where you can name 3 subs.
Okay.
All right. So yeah.
Wow. All right. Let me start up top. Ronaldo.
Okay, no. Okay, let me change this up. No. Okay, no. Guys that you played with, not guys guys that you played with. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll definitely go with Brian Ching up top.
From Hawaii.
Yeah. U.S. national team player. Very knew his role, stick to his role. Good, player one player that understood what he could do and stuck to it. On the right, I would say I'll put Landon Donovan. On the right, I would put Henry on the left.
Thierry Henry.
I would put myself in the midfield with Rafa Marquez and Julien De Guzman. So 5 in the midfield.
Fourth, you named 6. We're 4-3-3, so you need a back 4 and a keeper now. I love these, by the way. These are my favorite.
Let's see. You guys can see me?
Yeah.
I would go with that everything.
I know. I was thinking in the background.
Man, well, Bill Hamid, Aranstad is tough, man. Goalies, Steph, and there's Julio Cesar.
All you need is one goalie. Pick one goalie. You get us 4 goalies.
He's got political aims. So
I know. He shouldn't play all sides, but I do need one goalie and 4 defenders.
But the thing is, as I'm saying them, I'm thinking about great moments that I'm like, man.
Yeah. No, it's tough.
Yeah.
I think.
Just pick one.
Because he's unbelievable with his feet. Julio Cesar.
Julio Cesar. Okay.
Right back would be who was a good guy I was playing with. So many. Pick one, right?
Pick one, man. Pick one.
So far, this team is stacking up pretty much to every team out there.
Yeah. It's a dirty team.
You're on a good path so far. This team's dirty so far.
I would say for my right back would be Andy Nahar.
Oh, Honduras, right? Yeah, he was nasty.
Yeah, he's a good player for sure. He came up through DC.
Yeah.
It's attacking, so I love attacking players, even in the back line. Defensively, center back wide, I would put Man. Jeff Agus.
Jeff Agus, yeah.
And I would put I'll throw Agent, my boy. Yeah. Yeah, because he's a beast. He don't care who you are. He'll pick A in the field. If you hit me, you up. So I know he got my back.
That's a big one.
Huh?
That's a big one. I like that one.
Yeah. You need one of those guys. The guy or just constantly hitting you, elbowing you. You know, that's Rafa Marquez too.
But most importantly, that's Scarborough right in the spine, right in the middle, and that's what it is, right? So Scarborough guys do that, so that's fantastic.
Left. I'm trying to go to the list of there's some along the way. Lynn Pierre.
Pierre, okay.
Okay.
Pierre Scandinavian, played in New York.
Yep.
Another that worked tirelessly up in.
Okay, and then just give us three subs, three guys that you couldn't get in there, but you would want on your team for sure.
If you played with Ainsley, there's an expectation that he's one of the subs for sure.
No, I didn't have that pleasure.
Jermaine Defoe.
Mm-hmm.
And not because of his name, because he's a world-class finisher. That guy was.
Yeah.
Landon Donovan.
You already have him as your right winger.
Right. Ricardo Clark.
Yeah, it was a solid player.
There you go.
Ricardo Clark.
Mm-hmm. One more.
Shoot, man, this. Probably Ronnie Ekelin from Danish International Barcelona.
Okay.
Awesome, man. That's a world class.
That's a dangerous team.
I felt that you were trying to hold back because of you got so many events. I always see you know you don't want to give the wrong 11 and give the wrong impression, but
dude, yeah.
No,
but,
awesome.
Because I probably sit back and look at it, like even just thinking about it. Jermaine Defoe came to mind. I'm like, oh shoot, Jermaine Defoe, I forgot about him. Like he was pleasure to play with, man. Understand the game, reading of the game. I mean, Chris Wondolowski, Kai Kamara. But
totally.
Hold on. So hold on. Last one. Who would coach that team though?
My dad.
I like that answer. That's a great answer. And that's honestly what a good way to wrap us up, man. Just really bringing it back, to the foundation of it, and just to see, your dad's spirit carry on through you. I know, for when I speak of Tony D, that's a little bit of nostalgia and maybe a little bit for the older crowd, but just bringing it right back to the beginning. I think that when you talk about mentality and you talk about especially heart, we've been fortunate and blessed enough to talk to some real trailblazers, that have put us to this point here today. And I think Dwayne, and the time you guys were coming up, to try to get to this, you were navigating in the dark. Now there's so much resources. Now kids can put a training session together down from 3 years old, on YouTube. But when you guys were really trying to do this, it really took a lot of sheer will and a lot of real passion, for the game. So. Definitely. I think when you speak of the grand scheme of your career, it's definitely one of the guys that is a true essence to be a Toronto guy. From whether you're from the west or the east, we're always arguing between us. Who has the best set of players and things of that nature. But it's
Scarborough.
It's great for you to to touch upon us and just really, I think, bless us, with Canadian soccer royalty. I think for us in this day and age, it's really an instant messenger society, but we put these, webinars together for people, there's always that one or two that are really going to take it in. And, I think for all of you guys that have made it so far in your careers, there's no getting to where you get to without, knowing your history, without knowing where you stand, and I think that, all of us, as you mentioned, Soccer Saturday coming up, and we're all, fiends of the game, fiends for information, who's done it before me, who's failed, who did what. And, it's great to have you, connected, back to where you started, and it's an important piece. And, we wish for you to continue to set that trail, for us in this new pathway that you're endeavoring. Thanks for joining us again, and wish you the best. Obviously, coming out of this situation, and just hit the ground running again, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for this and the information I provided. Like I said, some of you players can utilize, and like I said, it's really seeds, right? And you can take the seed where you want it, but one thing with seeds is you have to plant it, you have to put in the work and give it the love and the resource it needs in order to grow. And depending on what you put into that seed is how the outcome of the growth process is going to be. So you put a lot into it, it's obviously going to be able to reap the rewards. But if you put a little and expect to reap a lot, it doesn't work that way. So again, guys, thank you for the opportunity, and it was a pleasure.